Welcome back to the Teams Insider podcast. Another great customer perspective this week. We dive deep on RFP processes and Chris at Clifford Chance and their RFP moving from Cisco PBX to Teams Phone, how they broke the lots down, how they did the research, the whole process. Chris gave us a lot of really great insights. Many thanks to him for jumping on the pod, and also many thanks to Mnemonics, who are the sponsor of this podcast. Really appreciate all their support. On with the show. Hi everybody, welcome back to the podcast. Always excited to get customer perspectives on the podcast, and this is going to be a great one from Chris. Chris joined me on a panel recently and we had a really great conversation at a Cavell event. It wasn't recorded, but I said afterwards we've got to have that conversation and more on the podcast. So Chris, thanks so much for joining.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me, Tom.
Awesome. So to start us off, can you intro us to yourself and your role at Clifford Chance?
Yes, sure. So I'm Chris, and I'm what we call a service owner for unified communication and collaboration. It's an IT role for a law firm, and I'm responsible for all UC and collaboration tools that we use to collaborate internally and externally.
Awesome. And your remit's quite wide, isn't it? Can you take us through? Because everybody has this same role, but actually, as we found out when we were discussing with other enterprises, the same title has different responsibilities in different orgs.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, whenever I talk to my colleagues in the other organizations, they seem to have a remit going either way, either less or more. So my remit is an email system. It's our telephony system. It's our meeting platform, which is Teams, plus a couple of other small instances of other platforms. And it's also our meeting room experience. So video conferencing in the meeting rooms.
Awesome. And what's your background and how did you end up in this role?
Okay, so I've been at Clifford Chance for 12 years now, or 13 years in April. Before that, I was working as a consultant in the UC space, or IP telephony space at that time. And I spent a couple of years working for companies like Cable Wireless Worldwide before we're taken over by Vodafone, for a company called KDDI Europe, which is a Japanese integrator, and a couple of years at BT Global Services. So I moved from a consultancy into end user space, and I'm using my experience from the other side to benefit the firm.
Oh, I was going to say that experience has come in particularly handy in recent times, hasn't it, with your RFP process, because you sat on the other side of the fence. And that was going to be kind of the bulk of our conversation today. You've just been through a multi-lot RFP for moving to Teams and Teams Phone. So can you just take us through that? And I know you broke it into multiple lots, but maybe you can kind of intro us to where you are today and where you're going.
Yes, sure. So Clifford Chance has been quite an on-prem environment for many, many years. Now there was a change in IT strategy, cloud first. We obviously want to move to the cloud, reduce the resiliency on or reliance on the on-prem systems. And as part of that, we decided to move our Teams telephony. So we wanted to identify or find a partner, the right partner to help us with it. So we decided to spend some time doing market research to find the right partner who can help us transition, but also a partner who can support us as a managed services. So we want to be sure that we have a full end-to-end support from telephony up to the meeting room. So we started with an RFI. We reached out to a large number of different organizations to understand their capabilities and their desire to be a Clifford Chance partner. From that pool, we picked up a smaller group of partners and we started an RFP. And the RFP is where we actually look into the details of the solution we want to have and how we want that to go forward with us.
Awesome. And for anybody listening who isn't so much in our world, RFI is kind of a request for information. So it's like a initial pass of who are you, what you might do. And then RFP is much more you're committing to answering or proposing for this solution.
Yes, that's correct. So what we decided to do is actually we went to 3 different categories of partners. So we decided to go to big telcos, so the companies that provide end-to-end solutions. We decided to go to multinational integrators, big companies that are in that space, but they also do a lot more. And then we also went to UK-based smaller partners who Microsoft lists as their preferred partners in the directory. So we wanted to make sure we speak to many different companies before we make a decision.
Nice. And just give people a bit of context about the Clifford Chance, kind of your coverage and number of users. It's quite big, isn't it?
It is. For a law firm, we are quite big. Obviously, if you compare us to some of the financial companies, we are not that big. But for a law firm, we have approximately 8,000 users across 20-something countries. Our head office is in the UK. That's also our biggest office. But we do have a large presence in Americas and in Asia Pac. We also have a number of offices in Europe, which are also relatively big, especially our German practice.
So this is a global migration, and considering all the different infrastructure in those global locations and the telephony carrier migration.
Indeed, and the regulations as well, because that's another important aspect of moving into cloud telephony, that regulations across different countries, data privacy, but also telecommunication regulations have to be taken into the account. And for that reason, we wanted to find a partner who has experience with multinational migrations, so we don't fall into the issues that we can't resolve later on.
Yeah, there are some meaningful differences in the cloud side. It's similar, albeit different regulations, but particularly with telephony connectivity, there are some very specific local considerations and local supply availability that can impact you.
Yes, unfortunately, yes.
Awesome. So you did the RFI, then you did the RFP, and you broke it down pretty extensively into 6 lots. Can you kind of take us through those lots?
Yes. So what we wanted to achieve during the RFP is to give ourselves a certain level of flexibility to go with one partner who is very strong in one area, but perhaps the other partner in the other area. We didn't want to force ourselves to go for only single partner. So the way we split the RFP is into 6 lots. The lot 1 is all about migrating from the Cisco on-prem telephony to Microsoft Teams telephony. So analyzing our configuration, coming up with the runbooks, coming up with the training approach, change management approach for all that core telephony migrations. In the lot 2, we focused on our switchboard and the reception number. So every single Clifford Chance office has the main office number, which acts as a main gateway for potential clients calling in Clifford Chance. So we want to have a robust solution for that service line.
It's interesting to me that you broke that up. That piece of the business is so important. It warranted its own lot that's different to telephony and different to contact center.
Yes, indeed. Especially that there are a number of different products in that market that we wanted to make sure we understand very, very well. Now, in lot 3, we focus on the contact center. Although we are a law firm, we do have some business operations support, like IT service center, but also some of the back office support that operates in a contact center fashion. So we wanted to be sure that we select the right product for them for their day-to-day operation. So that was our contact center lot 3.
And what does that look like today, Chris? Is that UCCE or UCCX or some other third party?
Yeah, so it is a combination of UCCX, because with Cisco on-prem telephony, but also a third-party managed contact center, on-prem contact center, quite an old-fashioned system that is kind of standalone, not fully integrated with our other systems.
Yeah, it's interesting space because there's been so much innovation in that space, and there's obviously quite a lot native in the Teams box, and as you say, quite a wide ecosystem.
Yes, indeed, and that's what we want. We actually want that full integration within Teams for our users when they reach out to contact center, but also for the contact center agents to benefit from that integration. So in the lot 4, we focused on Operator Connect or PSTN connectivity. So as I mentioned before, we went out to some of the telco operators, and they came up with their own solutions. Some of the integrators proposed the partner solutions in that space. And so we wanted to separate that to make sure we can select the right product for Teams. In the lot 5, we focused on on-site support. We recognized that we were going to have to provide an on-site support for the users, but also for IT teams. And for that, we wanted all of the partners to give us indication of where and how they can support us. Lot 6 is a managed services. So wrap-up service that incorporates all of the elements into a single service line where we can formulate a partnership with a selected supplier. So going forward, we have a fully supported systems and something that meets business requirements for operations.
That's great. Thanks for laying that out so clearly. It's really interesting because obviously in my previous life I've been in a lot of these processes on the receiving side and bidding side, and I think it's a great structure you've got there because you've given yourself the flexibility to say, well, look, this is the best operator for Operator Connect for our coverage. Like, that's great, but this is the better partner for managed service. They've got the right people on the right sites or whatever it may be. So you've given yourself a lot of flexibility there to pick the best partners.
Mm-hmm. That was the intention.
And how did you get from RFI to RFP? Did you proactively select who you were going to allow to respond to the RFP, and how, like, because it's quite a lot of work on both sides of the fence for people filling them in, but also for you guys receiving and assessing them.
Yes. So RFI was very high level. So we didn't want the partners or suppliers to spend too much time. Also, we didn't want us to spend too much time reviewing it. We just wanted to be sure that there is a mutual interest on both sides, that our business model and our requirements can be fulfilled by the partner, but also that we are an interesting client for the partner. We found that some of the big providers out there, they didn't really consider Clifford Chance business size as interesting enough for them to bid.
Yeah, so you want to be important to your partner, not unimportant to your partner, don't you?
Indeed. We just don't want to be a very small fish in a pond. We just want to be sure we've got partnership on different levels. So once we got the response from the RFI, we were clear of which partners are fit for the RFP, and we reached out to them. And that was a lot more detailed. And the responses that came from the partners were very detailed as well. So we had to spend a lot of time to analyze them. Obviously, Copilot was very useful for that as well. But if you want to do it fully and correctly, you do have to spend all your own time on that as well.
Yeah, and how long did it take you to put the RFP together? Because there's a lot of research internally. I guess it's your service, so you probably had a lot of the information to hand, but that's not inconsiderable amount of work to put that RFP together.
No, so we started in September last year to put all the RFP requirements, and we made our decisions a couple of weeks ago. So it was a long process. It was quite iterative as well. So apart from the written responses, we asked the partners to come to our office in London and present back to us what they feel is the right solution for us and how they feel they can deliver that solution to the benefit of Clifford Chance. So that was quite interesting as well, to have those people in the meeting room and question them and maybe just discuss openly of what do you feel is the right solution for us.
Yeah, you can't beat that opportunity to actually feel out both sides of the table as well. You say like, and also RFPs, having filled them in as a supplier, like sometimes they kind of box you into a certain type of answer, but when you're in the room, you can say, well, actually, have you considered there's a different alternative here, or there's different approaches?
Yeah, I found that as well. We always try to capture everything in a questionnaire when we send it to suppliers, but some of the suppliers came with something better than we haven't really thought about, and that's quite eye-opening as well.
Yeah, that's awesome. Of the 6 lots, which was the kind of most intense or hardest, would you say?
I believe the last one, the managed services. Mainly because we extended that also to our meeting room experience. We wanted our partners or potential partner to help us with managing the meeting rooms across all of our offices in a much better way than we do now.
Okay, so that wasn't just telephony, that was telephony and rooms. And what's your rooms estate look like?
So video conferencing is a split between a native Cisco devices and Microsoft Teams room devices. Now, all of that is obviously integrated with different AV products that you might have to fit out the room to make it more user-friendly. So there are many Crestron devices, Extron devices, Sennheisers, microphones. So it's obviously multi-vendor platform interconnected to provide the best end-user experience. And for that reason, we asked the partners to come up with a product and the support structure that would allow us to manage that estate much better than we do now.
And you manage a team that do some operations and management in-house. What does your, I guess, either current or future model look like in terms of how much you do in-house and how much is this partnership?
Yeah, so that hasn't been decided yet. We are in discussion with a selected partner on statement of works for the last lot. That's to make sure we understand very clearly where we need to provide our resources, where the partner is going to do. We expect partnership with them to make sure that it's fluid, so it's not always a straight line saying this is your responsibility, this is my responsibility. We want to be sure that we have a partner who can help us and perhaps extend the support where required. But that decision is still ongoing.
Okay, good to know. Yeah, it's interesting to see where people draw the line on in-house versus partnership and how tight that partnership is.
Mm-hmm.
And on the on lot 4 on Operator Connect, I'm interested that you explicitly said Operator Connect, not telephony connectivity. So is that a decision you made going into the process?
Yes. The idea is that we want to move away from managing on-prem devices, and obviously Operator Connect gives you that flexibility that you can move away and actually do a lot more in the cloud. So although we recognize that the migration will include a step where we are using direct routing and perhaps an on-prem SBCs, the direction of travel is to have a fully Operator Connect solution. So we wanted to be sure that partners take into consideration the transition, but they propose an Operator Connect as a end goal.
Nice. And did you find we talked about this? We had Andrew at BAE on the panel as well. Like he had some really tricky countries. Country coverage wise, that was okay for you?
No, we do have a couple of tricky countries. We do have presence in Middle East. We have presence in China. We have presence in India.
Okay, yeah.
All
so
of these tricky
decently
countries.
complicated, yeah.
Yes. Not as complicated as Andrew had, but yes, we do have a couple of countries that perhaps need a bit more planning. And of course, there are gaps in that space. We're trying to fill in the gaps using direct routing as a service, where Operator Connect perhaps is not available.
Makes sense. And for the, I'm interested for the switchboard and the contact center. Those are some of the hardest, I think, in the sense of you obviously have a really good understanding of what Microsoft Teams is. You understand Operator Connect. You understand Teams rooms. Like with those, you're potentially assessing new software solutions and new software partnerships as well as the actual vendor. How was that?
Yeah, so we found that majority of the partners, the suppliers, they proposed the same solution. There were a couple of products that perhaps were outside of that remit. But what we caveated in the RFP and in the statement of works that we want to run the proof of value of the product before we commit to any contractual agreement. So the product that was proposed on the paper, it seems like the right fit. But we do want to make sure that we include our operators and our contact center agents in the evaluation in the pre-OV before we commit.
Nice. That's a really good, really good tip for people, that there's a caveat or a stage gate there where it's like, do the business side actually agree with this choice and the functionality of the features as well? Particularly with, I'd say, switchboard, that's a killer one, because those people who are fielding those calls at pace need that sort of solution to really work and really be reliable. That's awesome. So taking it up a level, like for this whole process, because lots of people are on this traditional PBX to Teams journey, what would you say are kind of some hints and tips on going through this process or things you've learned?
Okay, so I feel you need to understand your users very well. So before we went out to the RFP, we spent some time with our users doing business analysis to understand what are the requirements going for telephony forward and what do they like about the systems now, or what they like to see going forward as well. Now, a lot changed in the last few years. Telephony perhaps became less important to some of the users. but also requirements changed as well, especially in AI world and in better collaboration. So make sure you understand what your users actually want so that you can complement Microsoft Teams solutions with whatever other products you might have to go for, being your switchboard, being your recording, being your AI agents and similar. So to me, that was an important part. And also make sure you select the right partner. Now, of course, we're going to transition now, so I hope we made the right call on the partner, but we spend a lot of time making sure that we validated, is the partner the right choice for Clifford Chance, not only because of their skills, but also the culture, the way they work, where they're based, how they communicate, how flexible they are. We're talking about a project that might take us 18 months. We can't agree everything now and be sure that in 18 months it's going to be still the same. There might be some changes. Is this partner flexible, or would they just follow a cookie cutter approach? So make sure you've got that understood as well.
Yeah, that's a really good point as well. And often the bigger the partner, the more rigid they are. I've seen in the past. Like, well, like we said 2 years ago, this was the project. It's like, well, yeah, but like things change.
Yes.
Interesting. You mentioned AI as well. Like, I guess other comms and communication is so interwoven to the wider business. The wider business's AI and technology platforms are obviously going to impact choices in comms and communications as well.
Yes. It's all about communicating with clients, communicating internally, externally, and making sure that you use the value of your products, not necessarily just to talk to people, but also to capture the important information. And AI, obviously, in the legal firm, it's a hot topic now.
Yeah, across the whole vertical, it's amazing because obviously it's highly impactful and potentially highly beneficial. So, and it's interesting. Comms is right at the center of that with things like meeting recaps and insights and pulling that data. So, yeah, it's great to hear that you're well aligned on that. Awesome. Well, Chris, thanks so much for sharing that. I think that's some really good tips for people in how you've done that, and hopefully once you're underway on the project and a little bit along, we can have you up again on the pod and we can talk about the progress and then the great success, all being well in a few months.
Yeah, I hope so as well. Thank you very much, Tom, for inviting me, and I hope I managed to contribute to your podcast in a meaningful way.
Yeah, no, it's really great information. Thanks so much, Chris.